Hello, welcome to our week 8 Zoom session. And in this week, our focus is mainly on your assessment number 2. And we will be looking at some of your issues and concerns, and also if there are any areas that you need clarifications on. So just before we started the recording, we had an informal chat to see how each of you is progressing. And there was a good question from Serena regarding finding examples from related to emotional intelligence from company websites. And then Raven gave a very good example as to how she found articles on emotional intelligence by using the Boolean operator and capital in the library web search, along with emotional intelligence and leadership, those kind of terms. So you have to really try different things and see which combination works best. That's what her experience was. Yes. When you look at some of when you look at the search results of the library website, sometimes it can be quite overwhelming. You come up across with around 25 or sometimes 100, depending on which keywords you use. So it can be quite overwhelming. The best is for you to actually read the abstract before you download paper. So when you look at the abstract, you would see that, okay, even though the title says it's related to emotional intelligence, really the content is not really what you're after. Or sometimes it can be a case study on a particular company and how emotional intelligence has helped them in transforming the organization or going through change or something like that. So if that is the case, then you can refer to them as examples. Okay. The other thing that I mentioned is your textbook. Now, I have given you permission to use the textbook as one of the references. And earlier there was a question from Raven whether it's a must for you to use the textbook. No, it's not compulsory, but it has a lot of cases and examples. So it's an easy way that you can get access to examples as well. Okay, so that's regarding examples related to emotional intelligence as well as diversity. It's the same. Okay, right. So now, a few of you contacted me saying that you're finding it difficult to structure the essay. So what I did was I tried to contact some of the previous term students. This is the first time I'm teaching this unit here at CKView. So therefore, I didn't have access to previous students. So I had to go through this permission process. That's why it took some time for me to get access to a high distinction level essay written by one of the previous students on a different topic. But the essay structure matched perfectly well for your task as well. So that is given to you now as an exemplary essay under Assessment 2 section. However, if you still find it difficult to structure your essay, I have provided some guidance in the discussion section. I gave it to you yesterday under general discussions, under essay structure, as I remember. That was the forum topic. And there I looked at both topics. If you pick diversity, how you can structure your essay, and if you picked emotional intelligence, how you can structure your essay. But remember, that's just one way of structuring. Okay, you can change the way you like as long as you address all 3 parts of each of the essay question. Okay, so if you have already submitted and if you have not followed the structure that I've given, don't worry. It's just one of the ways that you can address the essay questions, and I provided that just to make it easy for those who are struggling to structure the essay. Okay, now overall, what you have to understand is that you have 1,500 words to play with. That's not a lot of things, a lot of words, but you have a lot of aspects to cover in your essay. If you have not yet started, and if you have a lot of information at your hand, the best is for you to start with the essay structure. Just develop a skeleton as to how you want to structure your key ideas. Okay, how you want to structure your paragraphs. So then each key idea will become a paragraph when you really start writing. But this developing this skeleton at the beginning will really help you in putting the flesh into the skeleton and develop the full essay. Otherwise, you will write a lot and then have to cut words off, which is double the effort. Okay. And then there is a question related to similarity score. If you have written up the essay and if you are interested in knowing the similarity score, yes, you can submit your essay as a draft and see you see the similarity score and turn it in. However, I have to reiterate the importance of paraphrasing rather than copying and pasting sections. If you paraphrase, you write the content in your own words, and that way the similarity score drops. However, it's just a score and it doesn't give much information unless you really explore as to how the similarity comes, in what ways the similarity comes. If the similarity comes because you used references, and if the similarity is from the in-text and the list of references, I don't worry at all. But if the similarity comes because you took big chunk of information from another source and you have pasted it as is in your essay, then that's an area of concern. In such case, even though the similarity score is quite small, sometimes it can be 10%, but that 10% comes from one paragraph that you have directly taken from another source, then I'll be very concerned about it, even though the similarity score is quite low. But in general, if the similarity score is low, that means that you are more likely to have not taken content directly from other sources. Okay? So that's about the similarity score. And again, if you paraphrase, you don't have to worry too much about that score. Okay, now let's move on to any questions you may have. I will give the opportunity for the participants to now ask questions and areas that you need clarifications on. Very silent. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, yes.
Can I please ask when are we going to receive the information for the exam? You mean like the chapter that's going to be covered and just information?
Yes. Okay. So that's related to your third type of assessment. If you go to assessment 3 section, I have already provided you one past paper. And as you can see, that paper covers all chapters. Okay. So for your exam also, yeah, it focuses on all chapters. The questions are focusing on all chapters. It has 2 parts. The part A, again, you have a choice there, but part B, you don't have a choice. You have to answer all questions. I'm not going to spend a lot of time at this moment to talk about assessment 3, because I know a lot of people are still focusing on assessment 2, and I'm going to focus on assessment 3 in particular to, around week 11 and 12, and we will give you more advice and guidance on that. But if you, because you have already submitted your assessment VN, and if you're interested in getting ready for your assessment 3, one advice that I can give you is that at the end of each set of lecture slides, I have given you some questions. Okay? So those questions are helping you to revise the lecture content. If you write answers for all of these questions, not just think of answers, but write answers, that will help you not only to revise the chapters, but also work as a very good exam preparation, because your exam questions, as you may have already noted in the past paper, are very similar to those questions that I have given you at the end of the lecture slides. Okay? So that's about exam preparation.
Thank you.
No problem. Yes. Now, coming back to assessment number 2, any other questions? Okay, so then I'll give you some information related to marking assessments. Now, your assessments will be marked using the Feedback Studio. That's an option available in Turnitin. So I know some of you are new to CKView and some of you have been there in CKView for some time. So you may know that each unit and each coordinator prefers different types of marking methods. So some people mark offline and upload a feedback file for you to refer to. Now, in this unit, because we mark online, there will not be a separate feedback file. Instead, when you will have to open your assessment in Turnitin, and you will see feedback given to you right throughout the assessment, as well as in an assessment rubric and in the general comments section. Okay, so please note that every student is given feedback. Therefore, if you don't know how to refer to the feedback, I'll anyway provide you a PowerPoint presentation giving information as to how the overall class performance was and where were the areas that you needed to focus more and what are the areas that you need improvements in and things like that. There I'll show you how to access feedback as well. Okay. Right. So coming back to the assessment. Now, if you refer back to the guide that I've provided to you, in the discussion forum yesterday, I've said at least 3 points on this, at least 2 points on this, at least 4 points on this, and so on, when I was discussing different topics. Now, remember that if you have submitted your essay and you have had only 2 points on one area and 3 points in the other area and so on, and if you worry now, okay, will I lose marks? Don't worry. As I mentioned earlier, it's just the guide that I've provided to you. Okay, and the guide that I've provided to you helps you to have around 8 paragraphs. And that will be a good number considering that you're going to have a conclusion and an introduction as well. And each paragraph is going to be around 100 to 150 words roughly. And that way, you can easily balance the number of words and the key information that you want to communicate. And that's why I thought 2 points, 3 points, giving specific number of points will help you in structuring the essay. Okay, any further questions, please? And are there any people other than Uyen who have actually submitted the essay?
Yes, I submitted it as well.
Okay, so you will be getting the feedback in week 11. So just before you go for the exam, we try to give you feedback, but that's if you submit on time. If you miss the deadline and submit late, unfortunately, we won't be able to give you your feedback on time. Okay, because we need 10 working days for assessment mark processing, and unfortunately, if you delay, then our markers have other assessments to be marked as well. So then you will miss that window and then yours will get delayed. Okay.
So just checking, that's 8 a.m. on Monday, that's due?
That's right. That's Queensland time. Yes.
Yep.
I was planning to give it on Friday, but then I thought, okay, why not I give the weekend to work on it too? So that's why I made it a Monday morning. Right. Yes, anything else? If you don't have any questions related to the assessment number 2, I would like to make this an opportunity to talk about the unit in general. So Of course, I don't get to meet you very often. I know I have met Serena and Renee before during Zoom sessions. So what are the areas that you like to see in this unit, and are you progressing well? Because we have already finished around 2/3 of the term. So we have only 4 more weeks to go. And I really want every one of you to perform very well in this unit. So what support do you need from me?
Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm really liking the structure of it. I'm liking the content, which makes everything much easier. I actually really like the lecture recordings. They're great. And these Zoom sessions too. I think it covers any of the questions that people might have. I haven't really got anything that I think's missing, that I think is lacking. I don't know about anybody else.
Thank you very much for that feedback, Raven. Renee, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Raven. You've been very thorough. I'm enjoying working through it all.
Great, thank you. Right, so I take that feedback on board, so nothing will change in the next few weeks then. And again, the reason why I'm stressing on assessments is that I know some students understand concepts, but they struggle when it comes to assessments. And that's why in Zoom sessions, I try to focus a lot on assessments. But in lecture recordings, I don't mention about assessments because that's not the purpose of lecture recordings. But then again, if there's any area that that I have missed explaining you during Zoom sessions, you are free to drop me an email, and I try to be quite prompt when it comes to responding emails. So yes, so drop me an email or use the discussion forum. I actually prefer you using the general discussion forum or Q&A session because that helps other students as well, rather than emailing me individually. Okay? Right, so if you don't have any other questions, actually, I'm happy to let you go and work on your essays. But I'm here if you have any other areas that you need clarifications on.
I'm probably good. Probably the only thing that I noticed was with the referencing, because I've just recently sort of changed the CQU APA referencing guide, where previously you could just put the DOI of the resource. Now they seem to want it to be like the link, and a lot of them don't have the link. They just have the DOI. So I've been putting that HTTP/ in front of it to make it like a link. I don't know, that's every term that it takes, you need to sort of, I've noticed this is for new students, check the APA referencing, because they may update the guide or whatever, and there can be changes in it. And that's just what I'm probably the only thing that I've looked at it and wasn't really sure, because I've just been putting that in front to make it a link. Whereas previously, if it was just your reference and then DOI, you would just put DOI. But, yeah.
That's a good point raised, Raven. And now, when it comes to APA referencing, please use CQU APA referencing guide. The reason why I say that is that if you search on Google, if you type APA referencing, there are so many editions available, and also different institutions have their own twist to APA referencing as well. So therefore, please follow CQU APA guide, okay? And that's available in our library as well. Now, when it comes to referencing, it's a good thing that Raven mentioned about this digital object identifier, which is referred to as DOI. It's actually a unique ID given to each of the publication. Now, it becomes very important if the publication is still available only online. If the publication has gone to a printed journal, then it has a volume number and an issue number. Okay, so then the reader can specifically refer to which article you're referring to. So if the journal has already gone to a printed issue, and if you have access to the volume number and the issue number, even if you don't provide me DOI or the link, that's perfectly okay, because I know exactly which journal you are referring to. But if it has not yet gone to the printed one, because usually when a journal accepts an article, they make it immediately available for others to refer, and that's when the DOI is important, because it's not yet been printed in a hard copy journal. Okay, I hope that's clear to you. And that way, it's easier when it comes to referencing. If it is published already in a hard copy journal, you already know the issue number and the volume number and the pages. All those information is available for you, and then you don't need to put the DOI or the link. Okay, because I know exactly what you're referring to. That's to make it easy for you.
Another thing too, if you are using Google Scholar or Library Search Discover or anything like that, they have the citation button you can press. That's great to start with, and most of us that have been here a few years will get that citation and put it into our reference list, but always check it, because as Evelyn said, the variations on APA is staggering. So what you take as that citation from either Google Scholar or Discover It and just drop it into your reference list, it'll have the information you need, but it won't be in any other way correct. It'll be the wrong way around. It'll be, everything just dodgy. But it's a good base to start with. So
yes, that's a very good tip, actually. So you have to be careful which parts should be in italics, which parts should be within brackets, and which parts separate other parts with a comma or a full stop. So you have to be very careful about of these information. The italics parts are usually the journal title and the volume number. Okay, so most of the students actually only focus on the journal title but forget the volume number. Okay, so both the journal title and the volume number has to be in italics. That's only if you know the volume number, otherwise you would put digital object identifier at the end. Okay, right. So that's a good comment. Thank you for that. References is an easy way for you to score marks, and also it's the area that most of the students are losing marks as well. So I'm very sad to see that, because it's just, if you understand the structure, it's just a matter of putting all the information into that structure and make it available. And the other thing is, most of the students focus on the list of references given at the end of the essay, but not in-text referencing. So in text referencing, you're only using the family name and year, okay, not the initials. I've seen this many times that some students use initials also in in-text referencing. So please use only the family name. And again, depending on how many authors are there, if it's 2 authors, yes, you can combine them with an ampersand. And if it's more than 3 authors or 3 or more authors, then you can show them all names in the first appearance and then use et al. And so depending on the number of authors, you can change that. And also, if you're referring to multiple authors, depending on the way you write, sometimes you may refer to, Renee and others, instead of saying et al., because that's if you use it as a part of your sentence rather than using it as a reference. Okay, so depending on that. So if you use it as a part of the sentence, you are not using et al. Instead, you say others. Okay, so things like that. Simple things. Okay. Right. I really hope you are, as you progress in the unit, you are also thinking of the final assessment exam as well, because that is 50%. So we really have to get very well prepared for the final exam. All exams will be marked by me. So exams will come to me. It doesn't matter from where you sit. It will come to me in Sydney, and I will be marking everyone's exams. But when it comes to assessments, yes, I will do the moderation, but I have a team of markers because I have tight deadline to meet. Therefore, it's not virtually possible for me to mark all assessments. I will be marking Sydney plus random ones selected from different cohorts.
Just on the exam too, for anyone that hasn't done one before, you need to have either your CQU student ID or a driver's license on you at the day to identify who you are. You can have a clear drink bottle with like no label or anything, just a clear drink bottle with water in it. And what a lot of us do now is we just get a clear snap-lock bag and take multiple pens in with us. Always take extras, because if the pen runs out or won't work or something, the invigilators can lend you a pencil or something, but it just adds to your stress levels if your pen won't work. Because basically you're not allowed to have anything like a pencil case or anything on your desk that they can't see through. It's a bit like airlines. So yeah. Take advantage of that half an hour before where you can like get there early and have a perusal. Take advantage of that.
That's very good tips, actually. Yes. Right. Okay. It looks like we don't have any further questions. So thank you very much for taking part in this Zoom session. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, any areas of concerns, do not hesitate to contact me. Okay. Right. So once again, I wish you Happy New Year, because still we are in the second week, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.